Hi, my name is Autumn DeHart. I'm a graduating senior with a major in adventure education, a minor in marketing, and a certificate in digital marketing. Today, I want to talk to you about a topic very near and dear to my heart. I've drawn from a comprehensive literature review I conducted in my senior seminar course, and now I want to share with you the commercialization of Mount Everest, the benefits, drawbacks, and ethical dilemmas. Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, a mountaineer's dream, a community's livelihood, and recently coined the world's highest junkyard. Standing at 29,035 feet, Mount Everest carries significance for individuals around the world, and to many it holds a different name. I want to acknowledge the native names before continuing. Sagamartha, which is Sanskrit in Nepalese, and Chomolungma, which is Tibetan. These names hold cultural significance that is important to acknowledge when talking about this mountain. Mount Everest straddles the border of Tibet Autonomous Region of China and Nepal. There are many routes up, but two main ones are the South Route, which falls on the Nepal side, and the North Route, which falls on the Tibetan side. For the purpose of this talk, we'll be focusing on the South Route, their camps, and the Nepal communities. While Mount Everest carries a lot of significance for the surrounding cultures, it also carries a lot of significance in the mountaineering community. The first recorded mountaineering expedition on Everest was in 1922, with the first recorded summit being 31 years later, when Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay reached the top of the world. And thus, the summit of Everest was finally deemed achievable. Since the first summit, 6,098 people have summited Everest, and when counting repeaters, that sums up to 10,656 total. 7,023 of those summits came from the Nepalese side. While at the beginning, the majority of the people attempting to summit Everest were the trained mountaineers, the ones who had devoted their lives to climbing these tall and dangerous peaks, in 1985, this started to change. When Dick Bass, a wealthy amateur climber, set his eyes on the summit of Mount Everest and not being able to do it alone, hired a young mountain guide, David Brashear, to lead him up. Dick Bass's summit is said to have spurred a swarm of other weakened climbers to follow in his guided blueprints, and it rudely pulled Everest into the postmodern era. This is a photo captured by Nims Purha, a now famous mountaineer, in 2019 of the summit of Everest. This photo is different than the ones I've shown you thus far because this is a photo of the current reality on Mount Everest. This is a traffic jam on top of the world. While some of these individuals are on personal expeditions, the majority of people climbing up Everest can be credited to guide companies, the hired help, and the customers. The controversy has become that with the commercialization of Mount Everest, wealthy amateur climbers are paying companies to help them achieve the summit, and while paying a lot of money and contributing significantly to Nepal's economy, are majorly hurting the environment with an influx of waste, creating more dangerous conditions, and according to some traditionalist mountaineers, making the sport unpure. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the cost of climbing Mount Everest, because let me tell you, it is not cheap. The average cost is around $35,000 to $65,000. Breaking that down a little bit, the price of a permit is $3,350. Then there's the common route royalty fee of $25,000 or up to $70,000 US for a 7-person crew. On top of that, you sometimes still have to pay for the cost of hiring a guide company and all of the additional costs while in the surrounding communities, like lodging, food, and whatever else you may want to buy. And on the more expensive and luxurious side example for you is a guide company called Summit Treks, which offers a luxury package costing $130 US per person that includes things such as a 5-star stay in Kathmandu, a bakery and bar at base camp, a private shower and toilet at base camp, personal photographer, unlimited tea and coffee, and more to really westernize the Everest experience. But that does lead us to the benefits of the commercialization of Mount Everest and how much it contributes to Nepal's economy. The valleys below Mount Everest inhabit Tibetan and Nepali-speaking people, the most notable ethnic groups being the Sherpas. So while Sherpa with a capital S is an ethnic group, Sherpa with a lowercase s also refers to a local mountain guide in that region. Since mountaineering in Nepal has taken off, it has become the backbone of its economy. On average, there are around 350,000 total tourists that visit the Everest region annually. And with that, Everest climbers alone contribute tens of millions of dollars to the Nepal economy. While the government does see a lot of this money, a lot of it does go straight back to the people. One tourist can support 11 Nepali families, paying for schools, bills, food, housing, and more. According to the Nepal Mountaineering Association, currently 80% of the population depends on tourism, with 54,000 people being employed in the field. So while mountain tourism does provide the communities with livelihood, the locals do hope that soon they will be able to stop relying on it so much. They want to use the money they make now to be able to help the upcoming generation go to school and eventually find a new and safer way to keep their economy afloat. This is because being a Sherpa is one of the most dangerous jobs one can have. They are guiding people who may not listen to them, portaging, being at high altitudes for a long period of time, and more on very dangerous mountains. And with that, there is still a huge pay gap when it comes to Sherpa pay and Western Guides pay. A high skill and quality Sherpa will make around $5,000 for a 2-month season, while a Western Guide of the same regard can make around $50,000. However, though, with the pay gap and high dangers, the average Nepalese citizen only makes around $500 a year, so being a Sherpa is currently still sought after and changing people's lives. So even though commercialization is beneficial for the economy, the local communities are raising concerns about the state of Mount Everest. This leads us to this photo. This is a camp on Mount Everest, and as you can see, it is littered with waste. Unfortunately, this is not a rare sight. There are old tents, fixed ropes, oxygen bottles, human waste, tins, glass, paper, beer bottles, human remains, cans, and more, all along this mountain. It is estimated that each visitor leaves on average 6.5 pounds of waste behind. And if you think about the number of visitors, not just climbers there are, 6.5 starts to become a terrifying number. For many years, the accepted practice of mountaineers was to dispose of trash in crevasses. Use the restroom where they can dig a spot or also just in crevasses. Discard oxygen bottles at the point that they become empty anywhere on the mountain and not care to pick it up on the way down. Out of mind, out of sight. The beauty of the mountain has been discarded by the convenience and lack of care from humanity. Therefore, the South Base Camp is titled the world's highest junkyard. Sadly, however, it goes farther than just the base camp. Scientists recently analyzed snow along the mountain, starting from the base and going up close to the summit. What they found was astonishing. They found the world's highest microplastics. While they hoped it was due to wind, with more analysis, it was found that it was mostly from synthetic clothing made up of polyester, acrylic, nylon, and polypropylene, all of which are used in mountaineering gear. Going deeper, they found that 400 microplastics are released from synthetic clothing every 20 minutes, which is crazy to even think about. And while these scientists do believe that actions can be taken to reduce the number of microplastics still accumulating, they do not believe that the microplastics at the top of the world will ever truly be gone. So it's hard to think about, it's hard to look at these photos, but it's important that we do talk about it. Currently, waste is starting to become a problem not just on mountain, but also in the surrounding communities. One clear example of this is feces. Everyone uses the bathroom, even when you are climbing mountains. And while at base camp there are established restrooms and trash disposal areas, the problem is at the higher camps there's not always bathrooms or ways to dispose of it. Feces, as we know, can spread disease, and they're starting to find that there are currently levels of contamination that are actually affecting water sources below Everest. This is terrifying when we think about not only all of the tourists who drink from the water, but the communities that depend on it. While the encouraged practice is to carry your waste, including your poop, with you, many of the high-paying customers do not want to since they are paying as much as they are and do not feel as though they should have to. So all of this is heavy and pretty sad to think about. So I quickly want to mention some positive efforts that are being made to help reduce the waste on Everest. So there are initiatives in place and cleanup campaigns that are happening right now to help encourage sustainability. The Nepalese government now charges climbers a deposit of $4,000 that is refunded only if they return with at least 18 pounds of trash. They also begin equipping climbing groups with giant canvas sacks that can hold 175 pounds of garbage. Once filled, the sacks are then left at various spots along the climbing route, where helicopters will fly to the mountain and drop ropes for climbers to use lifting devices to help get the trash off the mountain. The current controversy of this, however, is that people just do not care enough about the deposit. When this was first initiated, only half of the climbers on Everest got their deposit back from that season. There are also private organizations working to make a change. One of them is the Valley Peak Outlook Foundation, which is funding cleanup expeditions of waste from base camp to above what mountaineers call the death zone, which means anything above 8,000 meters. There are also expeditions and companies that are doing eco-sensitive climbing expeditions. One company, named Asian Trekking, has removed more than 13 tons of trash from Everest during their numerous trash removal expeditions. They also have a Cash for Trash program that pays Sherpas $1 for every 2.2 pounds of trash that they collect on mountain. There are also efforts being made for what happens with the waste after it is off the mountain. Mount Everest Biogas Project, a U.S. nonprofit, has designed a solar-powered waste disposal system that is being installed in Gorakshep. It will use microorganisms to break down 100% of the waste from base camp. The process will generate clean-burning methane gas and fertilizer that the villagers can then use. Villagers are also recycling and upworking the waste. A new waste facility called Sagmartha Next is being completed in Sangrabush. It will process garbage and collaborate with artists, innovators, and village folk. The creations are everything from art for sale in the markets to glasses and plates that are being used in both houses and lodges that the tourists can stay in. So I wanted to leave you on a positive note that there are things being done, but more needs to be done. I don't have the answers, but one place that we can maybe think about starting is more eco-sensitive expeditions, but especially a change in mindset. So after talking to you about the benefits and drawbacks of the commercialization of Mount Everest, I want to leave you with the questions that touch on the ethical dilemmas. I myself do not have answers for these, and most people don't, but please take them and think about them, not only in regards to Everest, but to places being commercialized around the world. Is it ethical to reduce tourism of Everest when it will damage the Nepalese economy? Is it ethical to commercialize one outdoor space in hopes that others won't face the same fate? And at what point is guiding in these outdoor spaces too much? Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.